Are you in a season of life where your work is stressful? You're coming home, you feel tired, you feel drained. Maybe you're not sleeping at night. Maybe you're just restless. Maybe you're frustrated. Maybe you're lashing out and you don't have a lot of peace and you're just have a lot of stress and anxiety. If that sounds like you, I just want to share a little bit about my experience in a stressful job and stressful situations and how I navigated them and how you can navigate them to create better boundaries, to reduce your stress, to sleep better at night. And that is going to feed into your relationship with your loved ones, and you're going to feel better, have better relationships, and better connection with others. So they do say that work-related stress is the number one stress in people's lives today. And I think a lot of people, when they talk about work or stress at work, it's more like a venting. They vent about all the things at work that are frustrating to them, that they don't like, and they stay focused on those things. And as you stay focused on those things, that is almost what will consume you, because what you focus on, you will continue to focus on, which isn't healthy. Or maybe you're in a situation at work where you have a really bad boss and your life is consumed by that boss. You come home, all you talk about is how bad your day was, what your boss did or your supervisor did, and that almost consumes your whole life. That is not a healthy situation. That is not healthy for you. That's not healthy for your family or your friends, or your work relationship. So you have a few choices here, and let me share a little bit about what I did. I had a situation where years ago I was working at a job. My boss would have meetings and calls, and we would all be on these calls. And sometimes that individual would not handle themselves very well. They would become very frustrated, angry, maybe lash out. Sometimes they were swearing at people, calling people out, very inappropriate in the workplace, not necessary. And I noticed how everybody felt after, and there would be rumblings, and obviously people talk, which, I will admit isn't the greatest thing to do. And so I felt my responsibility and the best thing I could do was to go to that individual and talk to them, even though that was a very difficult conversation. It was a hard conversation. But I shared with that individual my feelings on it, how it was affecting others, how it was affecting me. And then I noticed afterwards that the tone towards me was a little bit different, in the sense that I was never really sworn at to begin with, probably because I had set boundaries before that. And I expected a certain level of mutual respect. I noticed that the respect for me was different. I noticed that even if there was a little bit of a frustration, the communication was different. And I noticed that others that maybe hadn't come forward or spoke to this individual allowed themselves to stay in a situation that wasn't good for them, and it wasn't good for our boss. Eventually, I did go to HR, which is the right thing to do, and I allowed HR to handle the situation. So in a situation like that, you actually control more than what you think you do. So if you're in a situation where you feel that your boss isn't being fair to you, especially in a public setting or around others, you need to speak to your boss, maybe with HR there or maybe not. But it needs to be respectful. It needs to be articulate. It needs to set clear boundaries so that you're saying, this is what my expectation is. And so that conversation will create stress, yes. But hopefully after that, you will see things change. And if they don't, you need to still navigate that situation. And if things don't change, you need to make a decision whether to move on because of your own mental health, or if you're going to stay in there, you need a really good plan of how you're going to navigate that. Okay. So I'm going to leave that one with you. But maybe you're in a situation where you're feeling like you're not being recognized enough, you can't move forward, you're feeling stuck. And again, that can cause stress in other ways. And so your choice there is either you've spoken to your boss or you've spoken to HR, you want to move forward, but there's no opportunity. Your decision now is either to learn to be at peace with that, accept it, and stay there and teach yourself to not be frustrated, or you need to have a plan to move on. Because that's your choice, because you're going to create your own stress in that environment. Or maybe you're feeling like the workload and the expectations are too stressful. So things are being thrown at you. Maybe you have multiple deadlines. I worked in retail as a district sales manager. The majority of my career, there was a lot of expectations. There was a lot of demands. You had to pivot and change on a dime. This was, back in the heyday where there was lots of goals, lots of pressure, all of those things while you're coaching, training, and developing people at store level. And I was a very reactive person. I was very quick. I would try to finish deadlines quickly. I was very reactive. And that was my greatest strength, but it was also my greatest weakness, and sometimes could create stress for myself, because as soon as I would see something come in that I needed to, I would almost create my own pressure of meeting that already. Even if the deadline was, a week away or 2 weeks away, I would already be creating a pressure within myself. That wasn't my work creating that pressure. That was me creating self-pressure. I had to learn that. I had to become more emotionally aware. I had to learn about my personality. And then I had to plan how I was going to not create that stress. Or maybe you're the opposite, where you're not completing things on time. You get a timeline and you're waiting until the last second to complete it, and then you're chaotic and you're rushing. But in the meantime, you've been aloof and, oh yeah, it'll come. Or maybe you just don't meet deadlines at all. That is going to create stress. That is going to create hardship in the future. So if you're that type of personality, you need to learn to create some more structure, meet timelines, and learn how to structure your day and plan that in there. So for myself, what I did learn was I needed to plan, but I also needed to allow myself a certain amount of space for things that come at you in your day. I think also a lot of people are stressed by their environment, and I'm noticing that now for me more, because I'm in more of an office setting than I did working in retail, where I was in the mall a lot or had a home-based office, where certain things can affect you, like your environment. And I have a really great environment. I have a nice office, but I'm talking things like maybe just the ventilation system, or all of the EMF that's in there, or whatever's happening with your environment. Just sometimes being in an office all day just always isn't great. So I did notice that, I stand on a balance board a lot at work because I have a standing desk. So I'm very fortunate to have that. So that keeps me active. I've noticed some people go for walks. Our controller, every afternoon, he goes for a walk. And he comes back and he feels great. There's other ladies in the office that go for walks, or certain people that get out of their office and go have lunch together in, our conference room. So those things are important to do, is recognizing that. Also being aware of your screen time. If you've been at work all day in front of a screen, it makes your eyes tired. It can make your brain tired. It can cause fatigue. All of those things affect you, because you get home, you can be moody, you can be tired, you can be frustrated. And so if that is you, you need to figure out, how can I create more healthy space and healthy time throughout my day? Get out of the office. Maybe it's going for a walk, even in the rain, or just being outside for 5 minutes will help that. Whatever it is, creating some movement throughout your day. Maybe walking to go to talk to somebody instead of, texting, teamsing, email, whatever it is on the other side of the office that helps you get up and walk. All of those things are really good for you to think about. And so those create a healthy space for you. So when you come home, you're feeling better. I think also how people handle situations at work is key because you are in control of how you handle a situation. A lot of people feel powerless in situations, but you're really not powerless because your response is key in every situation in your life. Again, I'm not perfect at this. We all do things that aren't perfect. But I think if you can be aware of your response, be aware of your emotions, be aware of things that are changing. So maybe this is new to you and it's throughout the day, all of a sudden you realize, oh, I'm tired, or oh, I'm not feeling as well. Stop and reflect on those and then think about maybe what caused that. That'll help you, right? As you learn to navigate these sort of things better. Or when you have a situation that comes at you, even if it's tense at first, learn how to diffuse that or pause. Ask if you can come back to a conversation. Can we leave this and discuss this at another time? Whatever it is, you have to learn how to handle a situation, how to control a situation, how to, handle things that come at you in positive ways that are better for you and your mental health. So I just leave you with that today. I really hope that was helpful for you, just sharing some of my personal insights. Drop a comment in the comments below. We've all gone through it. And navigating workplace stress is real for all of us. And so I just say, stay positive. Think about your reactions and your responses. Own your reactions and your responses. You are not powerless. You are powerful, and you are in control of your future and your life. All right. Take care.